So SummerSlam happened yesterday, and usually I talk about this stuff on the podcast, but I decided that I would just kind of wait for it when it comes to like WWE pay-per-views since they mostly air on Saturdays. I figured I might as well wait and do a whole separate video where I talk about my reactions to it, as well as covering some other wrestling news if, you know, there just so happens to be any wrestling news that week. And there is this week. We got some serious stuff. We got some not so serious stuff. We might as well start it with a bit of AEW drama. A bit. We're just like kind of breeze through this part. I don't really plan on talking it that much. Britt Baker was reportedly suspended and fined by AEW after a situation with MJF and Alicia Atot, who I believe is MJF's girlfriend. Britt Baker was suspended for either 1 or 2 weeks and fined by the company's disciplinary committee. Details have been kept pretty quiet. It came from something backstage at the 717 Dynamite, where Baker allegedly said something about MJF and Alicia Tot. MJF's girlfriend heard it and told him, and he confronted Baker. This led to an investigation with HR, talking to people on July 24th, and I believe the disciplinary committee that did the investigation recommended that. I don't know if Tony Khan was or wasn't involved in this, and everyone was attempting to keep this under wraps. This all stems from problems in the past that weren't addressed, and the committee was put together to settle these things quickly. Most of those we heard from were sympathetic to her in the situation. And this, I mean, it isn't really surprising. This isn't like the worst thing to come out of AEW in terms of like backstage drama, shit like that. I think it's definitely weird to suspend her and fine her, especially since there have been some details out there where allegedly MJF went into the women's locker room. I've heard some reports that said he barged in. Some reports say that he asked to come in, which is still weird. Apparently, he punched a wall. I don't believe it was in the locker room. It's a little weird, this whole story. I still, at the end of the day, if what is said about MJF is still true, like he punched a wall and, like during the argument, or that he went into the women's locker room, even if he was invited in, that's still weird. He should still also see punishment for this. But the fact that she's getting both suspended and fined is just a little weird. She is a bit of a problem child. There has been, talks about her not getting along with most talent. Uh, Infamously, like her and Thunder Rosa did not get along that well, and she kind of used her power to, affect Thunder Rosa when it came to the company, I believe. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I think this is just really dumb. But it was something that was really talked about when it broke, so I figured I might as well bring it up. But let's get into the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Just have the matches brought up here. And we'll just kind of go through them and I'll just give my thoughts real quick. So, starting off with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship, I thought this was a pretty good match. Definitely a pretty good match. It was one of the longest matches on the show. But yeah, it was definitely a really good match. But obviously, the only thing that people were really talking about when it came to this match was the ending. And I think it was really well done. I think you could see it from a mile away, but I'm very interested in where this leads to, especially with what we know now with Gunther versus Damian Priest, which I'll just cover real quick. Gunther defeated Damian Priest to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. I think this was a smart move. Gunther is definitely world champion material. And this really happened because Finn Balor turned on Damian Priest, which basically means that the Judgment Day as a whole, as we know it, is finished. I don't think they're going to give up the Judgment Day stable. I think they're just kicking out Damian and Rhea and bringing in Liv and maybe Carlito. Carlito's just been hanging out with them, really. So they might as well just bring him in. But yeah, the Judgment Day as we know it is pretty much over. So we'll see where that goes. I'm definitely excited about this. Gunther versus Damian Priest was really good, as any Gunther match is. I think Damian Priest is incredibly good too and doesn't get talked about enough. I really like what they've been doing with him. I love Damian Priest. And we'll probably see a lot of him and Rhea teaming up because they're both being affected by this. Damien was pissed off that Dom turned on Rhea. So yeah, I think they're gonna team up just to take on the entire Judgment Day. I have a feeling that this is actually gonna be more the War Games match going into Survivor Series more than the Bloodline story. Even though I don't know how you would make it work. Probably Damien would make his own team. Rhea would make her team. Liv would be her opponent, and she would pick her team. And the Judgment Day already has like 4 members, so there you go. I could see that more than likely happening than the Bloodline stuff, to be honest. Even though like I would still love to see that more so than this, but we'll have to see. And we'll get into Bloodline stuff later on. Um, Then we have Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. This was a 5 minute match, very quick, and I think it was best for that. Their previous match was pretty good. I think this was better, honestly. I think this match was better. There wasn't, drawn out segments of this. It was very much just go from the start, even though it did take its time in the 5 minutes. Like, it wasn't just go, go, go. But, it's still, they kept the match moving. There was never a down spot in the match. I think this was really good. Putting the title on Braun was really good. I just love this. I thought it was great. But then we have LA Knight versus Logan Paul, with LA Knight becoming the United States Championship. With LA Knight becoming the new United States Champion, I think this was a great idea. Anyone with common sense could understand that this was a great idea. But we'll kind of get back to this whole situation later, if you, because we have some words to say about Logan Paul. We also have Nia Jax defeating Bayley to become the new women's champion. I think this was great as well. Nia has been, I feel like she's definitely been underrated when it comes to her role in the women's division. She has definitely improved, and I don't understand people who still hate on her. Like, we're not talking about 2020 Nia here. We're talking about a Nia who is definitely, honed in on her craft and is able to just have really good matches now. But people still just don't like her. I don't get it. Tiffany Stratton also tried to get involved and tried to cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase. This is really just all gonna play into a story with Nia and Tiffany. Uh, I don't know where they plan on going it because I don't really feel like they're gonna do a babyface Nia or a babyface Stratton. So they could do heel versus heel. We'll have to see. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good match. Then we have Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth freaking Rollins as special guest referee. Again, a really good match. I love the, drama that really went into this because that was like a big part of this. Like, everyone wanted to see a good match because this was CM Punk's first WWE match outside the Royal Rumble match, like its first singles match in WWE since he returned. And it was pretty good. The match itself was pretty good, but I do like the drama that went on in it. I saw some people being like, "Oh, Seth inclusion here wasn't needed." Like, when it came to the build up to this, I feel like it very much did because Seth and Punk still have this ongoing storyline, and Seth got a had a story with Drew not that long ago. Him being in the center of this makes sense. It doesn't feel forced. I feel like it definitely makes sense because he also got screwed out of his title match at Money in the Bank because of CM Punk's involvement. It just, it fits. It doesn't feel like it was coming out of nowhere. It just really does fit. And obviously, I think this is going to play into CM Punk and Seth having their actual match. I don't think Drew's going to be involved with this anymore unless they do like a triple threat match at the next pay per view at like Bash in Berlin. But even then, I don't really see that. And then we have the final match of the night, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. The match itself was alright. It was the longest match, almost going 30 minutes. There was a lot of involvement. The Bloodline got involved. The God, Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu, I believe, got injured during this match when he tried to go through do a splash through the announce table, and I think he like hit his leg on something. People thought for a second that it was a work, but I've seen some people post a picture online where like some people met him at a gas station and they took a picture of him. and he was wearing a boot on his leg. So more than likely he's going to be. I don't think it will be out. It depends. The fact that he has a boot on, maybe I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to like injury and the progress, because it it's not just something that I'm very well knowledge about, and I'm pretty sure it's a very complex issue. Like everyone takes different times to heal, but I don't know. I think the fact that he's already in a boot, not like doesn't need crutches or anything, more than likely he's probably just gonna be out for like a month or two, maybe. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt when it comes to that. But obviously, the big thing about this match was Roman Reigns returning. I think everyone saw this coming. Jimmy Uso returning probably was the only other thing people would have saw coming. I believe Jay was supposed to get involved with this match to take down Jacob, before the ending of this match. I believe that got cut, at least from what I heard. Again, just it's back to stage rumors and all. But yeah, Roman's back. He was wearing a shirt called OTC for Original Tribal Chief. And now we got Bloodline versus Bloodline. Well, not yet. Jimmy's not back yet, but he'll probably be back. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he comes back during SmackDown. Like the SmackDown after this. Jay will probably join them sometime between here and Survivor Series. Sammy will probably join them. I would love to see that. Sammy joining them. Maybe Kevin would join them. That would be like a surprise twist. Have Kevin join the Bloodline. But we'll just have to see, But yeah, I think for SummerSlam itself, I think that's about it. But we still got something to talk about. Like I said, Logan Paul has found himself in deep water over this tweet right here. Now, this comes out of the whole thing that got people really riled up about the Olympic boxer who won her match against an Italian woman during the Olympics, and people were saying that the woman in question who won was a man, because at first, like, off of no real evidence until they found out that she apparently has XY chromosomes through like a genetic, disorder or whatever, but she's still a woman. She's still a woman at the end of the day. And even when she was born, they were like, oh no, she is biologically female. Like, this isn't just, her identifying as a woman, but being biologically a male. No, she's always been biologically female. She's always identified as a woman. And in Algeria, where she's from, it's illegal to be transgender. But Logan, being an idiot, put out this tweet. This is the purest form of evil unfolding before your eyes. A man was allowed to beat up a woman on a global stage, crushing her dreams while fighting for her deceased father. This decision must end. This delusion must end. And he has deleted it. He has deleted the tweet now. But not until he made this little tweet right here. Oopsies, I might be guilty of spreading misinformation along with the entirety of this app. Although she's been previously disqualified for failing a gender test and has XY chromosomes, some sources say Iman Khalifa, I don't know how to pronounce her name, was born a biological woman. I stand by my sentiment that biological men should not compete against biological women in any sport, and if you disagree, you're a sick fuck. Like, this is just disgusting. And even though he took down the first one, tweet now, he has kept this one up. And it's just so fucking dumb. I don't know, I really just hope that this is kind of the end of his time with WWE, because he is a good wrestler, but like, this isn't worth it just to have this idiotic person who not only has, said this shit, but also has had like Donald Trump on while he was the US champion on his show after he got convicted, after he was found guilty of like the hush money trial that happened. We even have fucking dumbass Pat McAfee talking about it.
The women's boxing, I haven't done enough research. I saw that the International Boxing Association deemed a couple of the boxers that are in the Olympics, still in the Olympics, not eligible to box in women's boxing because they had too much testosterone, or they were deemed a male, I believe, from XY chromosome, from the research that I've done. So
I love how he starts this with being like, I did not do a lot of research.
the women's boxing, I haven't done enough research.
He literally says, I have not done enough research. And then he's literally like, from the research that I had done. And it's just like, you literally admit to yourself that you have not done enough research on the topic. But then you're still like, but I have done enough to speak openly about it. Like, it's so fucking stupid. And it's just like the dumbest thing ever. And like in this video, he says like, oh, I have a daughter. Like he brings up his daughter in this. And like, it's so stupid because it's a similar sentiment, I feel like, with at least some more empathy than what Logan had. But it's still a similar sentiment of being like, oh, biological men cannot be in women's sports, or basically trans men cannot be in women's sports because, well, trans women cannot be in women's sports because since they are like originally biologically male, they are just going to be naturally stronger. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. Like, imagine having a daughter and being like, hey, sweetie, you can do whatever you want. You can, if you want to play sports, you can play any sport you want. But just know that when you play that sport, if a man is in that sport, he is going to be so much better than you. Just off the bat, just because he's a guy and you're a girl. And, you know, boys rule, girls rule. That's what this is. Like, if you honestly think that there's that much of a difference between how men play sports and how women play sports, you're dumb. There's many different reasons to why, you know, women, like some women in women's sports, just underperform than men's. There's a lot more reasons than just them being biologically inferior. Because that's not the case. It's just so fucking dumb to think that way. But no, we have this idiot just sharing it to his thousands of followers. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a bit. Again, usually with this channel, I try to keep it more, you know, just focus on nerdy shit. Not try to like make it about serious stuff, but when you have idiots like this sharing this information, just spreading misinformation all over the place, it's just incredibly dumb. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.